Welcome to tonight's forum meeting. Declaration of opening is made at 5:30. Welcome everyone. We've got the councillors and we've got the staff. So I'll go through the attendance in a minute. So item 2 is opening procedures. 2.1 is the acknowledgement of country. So I would like to invite Councillor Mencheli to present the acknowledgement to country.
The Shire of Northam, The Shire of Northam would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Balladong and Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging.
Thank you, Councillor Mencheli. So item 2.2 is recording of council minutes. So I'll look at the camera as I say this. So members of council and members of the public who are not in attendance at the moment are advised that this meeting will be live streamed and audio recorded and made available on the Shire of Northam's YouTube channel. You can subscribe to that. If members of the public want to access the recording of the meeting, they can do so via the Shire of Northam website. And I've had a look myself for those who are listening to it online, and it is easy to find. So item number 3 is attendance. We have 3.1 attendees. We have 8 councillors. Councillor Ryan has just obviously stepped out for a moment. So we'll be noting what time Councillor Ryan returns. We have the staff as listed. I think that's everyone apart from Britt Hadlow, who will be noted as not being in attendance. Item 3.2 is apologies. That is nil. 3.3 is approved leave of absence. Councillor Hughes has been granted leave of absence from 11th of March 2024 to 15th of March 2024 inclusive. So that includes tonight's meeting. Item 3.4 is absent is nil. Item number 8, we're now on page 8, is disclosure of interest. So I have received a couple, and councillors are aware that they can advise me as the item comes up. And just for anyone listening, because we don't have any gallery here at the moment, any members of the public, this is the forum, it's not a decision-making night. This is a question and answers meeting, so that when we meet for the ordinary council meeting next Wednesday, we will make decisions on every item that is presented. So back to disclosure of interest. Councillor Biglan has declared impartiality in item 3.113. I'll just make sure I've got that right. 13.4.2, review of local planning strategy. Impartiality, owner of a lot in a proposed rezoning area. Councillor Biglan has also declared impartiality in item 13.2.1, mid-year budget review, that in reference to the Wundowri Museum, currently Secretary Treasurer of the Wundowri Progress Association Committee. So that is a non-paid role, so it's just impartial only. So that's the only ones I've received so far. Just head to page 9. So item number 5 is announcements by the presiding member. That's without discussion. There is items in there of relevance to the members of the public. That's about notification of events or if you'd like your event advertised. We now go to page 11. So we have item number 6 is public questions. Item number 7 is response to previous public questions taken on notice. There are a number there by Ms S. Lloyd. The questions were asked at a previous council meeting and all the answers are provided here. So I don't need to read those out, but they are available to be seen. We now go to page 12. So we go to item number 8, receiving of petitions, presentations and deputations. 8.1 petitions is nil. 8.2 on page 13 is nil. And 8.3, deputations is nil at this point in time. Members of the public are quite able to attend the ordinary council meeting next week and ask a question or make a deputation statement if so allowed. Item number 9, still on page 13, is applications for leave of absence. That is nil. So we go to page 14. So item number 10 is confirmation of minutes. 10.1 is confirmation of minutes from the ordinary council meeting held 21st of February 2024. I'll see, is there any questions, queries, clarifications from any of the councillors? Take that as a no. So we go, item number 10.2 is notes from the council quorum meeting held 13th of March. That's tonight, so that'll be a new item dealt with next week. Item 10.3 is notes from the strategic council meeting held 28th of February 2024. Any questions on that, councillors? And just wanted to make sure, because that's confidential, that's not available.
That's right.
Yep. So members of the public won't be able to see that. So just to clarify that. So now we go to page 85. So item number 11 is items brought forward for the convenience of those in the public gallery. There is no one in the public gallery at the moment, so no items are being brought forward. So item number 12 is reports of committee meetings. 12.1 is a community safety committee meeting held 20th of February 2024. There's minutes and recommendations. So I was just seeing if there were questions on either the minutes or any of the recommendations, councillors. I didn't have a question, but I see it's pre-answered in the mid-year budget review. It's to do with the 50,000 allocation for the CCTV, which does come up later. So no questions on that, councillors? Sorry, Councillor Geary.
Yes, thank you.
Don't have to stand today.
There was just a bit of a confusing statement in the document that I find. It said on page 123 that reduction in crime in Northam by police sergeant who was at the meeting, but the stats are showing that there is an increase in crime.
So can you just ask that question again, sorry?
Yes, so I just find a bit of confusing information in the document. On page 90, the statistics show that there is an increase in crime in Northam or in the Wheatbelt, but the police sergeant stated on page 123 that there is a reduction in crime. So I'm just wondering if the stats are correct.
I'll see if Councillor Mincelli can answer that, because Councillor Mincelli was at the meeting.
Yes.
Thank you.
I actually presided at the meeting, and the figures that come through from Walger are fairly old. So he was speaking from the current perspective. So I think there's probably a bit of a time lag, and I think generally the view was that the crime rate had dissipated somewhat.
Yes, thank you. And I just wanted a confirmation on this, because also in the media I heard that crime is reducing in Northam, so I was wondering where the statistics came from. Thank you.
Thank you. Good question and answer. Thank you. Are further questions on these items, councillors? No, so then we'll go to page 254. So item 13 is officer reports. 13.1 is C. Oh, sorry, thank you. Did miss one, thank you. So we go back to page 125. So item 12.2 is Audit and Risk Management Committee meeting held 29th of February 2024. We've got both the minutes and the recommendations. So I'll just see if there's any questions, queries on either of these recommendations from any of the councillors. No? No? Now we go to page 254. So item 13 is officer reports, 13.1 is CEO's office, 13.1.1 is lease of reserves 3303 and 11596, Northern Harness Racing Club. Questions on this, councillors? Yep, Councillor Ryan first, then Bigland.
I've got a question, but before I ask the question, can I just raise a procedural, I've got one question, but before I raise it, can I just that a procedural motion be put that we go into camera in regards to it, or go behind closed doors, like for the public, only because the question I wanted to ask relates to pretty much another item a fair while ago, which was subject to privilege behind closed doors. So I'm just worried if I ask the question, it's going to then open the door with something that was meant to be confidential.
We just need to understand the reason for the confidentiality. Is it?
My understanding is commercial confidence. Okay.
Yeah. That's right. So as the procedure, most Councillor Ryan can leave that. Yep. So yeah, Councillor Ryan would like to move a motion that we go in camera behind closed doors. Yep. So before we go anywhere, I need a seconder for that. I saw Councillor Minchelli's hand first. So Councillor Minchelli, that is procedural. So I'll put it straight to the vote. So all those in favour by show of hands. That's 8-0. So can we? For the recording of the meeting, we've moved back out behind closed doors. So we're recording again. So any questions on this item, councillors? Yes. Oh, no, sorry. I had the Councillor Bigland first. Councillor Bigland, then Minchelli, then Gierak.
My question is if I am reading the document correctly, the lease ran out after 10 years and we haven't exactly executed. Have we executed another lease since approximately 2015? And if we haven't, how and why has it allowed to be drift for so many years without anything put into place? Thank you. Yeah, but
I'm just going to wait for an answer.
Yep.
So.
I'll need to check the report in terms of when the lease actually expired, but the reason that we haven't entered into a lease again is because the Harness Club were wanting to see if they could get the management order vested in themselves. And I think there's been a lot of toing and froing about that, and ultimately we've pressed because we've realised that we don't have a current lease in play, and we're currently going through all of the leases and bringing them all up to date. So this one was picked up through that process, and the Harness Club have now come back and actually said that even though their ultimate aim is to have the land vested in them if possible, they do realise that this might take some time, and so they are now willing to enter into a new lease agreement.
Follow-up question, Councillor Newby?
Thank you. So 2016 in August is when the Harness Club audit was documented, there was a realignment was suggested. And unfortunately it would appear that it has just slipped into abeyance. So, and we are now 2024, as you said, we're coming back into realignment. Were they supposed to be paying in lease monies during this period of time?
I'll take that question on hold. What often happens is, even though the lease expires, there's a holdover provision. So it's quite possible that the lease has actually been in a holdover provision, but I will need to confirm that and let you know.
Thank you.
Councillor Mancelli, have the next question?
Yes, sorry. Yeah, clearly this was under the jurisdiction of the Northern Town Council before amalgamation in 2013. So, yeah, obviously it's dragged on for a while, but we're obviously trying to get it sorted at the moment. But I've got some questions in relation to the parcel of land.
Have you got a page reference?
Yeah. The map is very, very small. Yeah, there's lot 3303 and the other one was 115.
That map is on the screen now.
Right, that's it, yeah. Yeah, apparently, yeah, there's some questions about an old tip site. So what is the plan there? Are we going to go in and review whether it's a hazard for the trotting club or what? I'm just trying to ascertain why we're going down that path.
I can answer that. I mean, the majority of what we assume the old tip site is outside of that blue line. So
Yeah.
basically, the area within the proposed lease area, there's very low chance of any issues there. It's already been disturbed. It's that area to the north of the blue line, so to speak, which we've done some preliminary investigations on a number of years ago after the big floods. So yeah, that's the area that's of concern.
So the old tip site was at the top left hand
Yes,
side.
yeah, that's right. Just a supplementary question in relation to that. How long ago was that tip site rendered defunct?
1980.
It should be
A long time ago.
9 years ago, yeah. I think it's been an active tip, and I think there's been some illegal activity there as well over the last 40 years, given that sort of tucked away, so to speak. So, but it's fenced off now, so hopefully, but yeah, partly fenced off beaches with access through the river, through walking, etc. So, yeah, but hasn't been used for a significant period of time.
Just another supplementary question. So there would have been sufficient time for the soil above the landfill site to have consolidated in that time?
Partly, but I think the floods we had a few years ago removed a lot of that topsoil that had been there, so that's part of the issue, that sort of exposed some of that disused material.
Yep. Councillor Gira.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. And just regarding the, pretty well the same issue, the contamination of, the potential contamination of the site, and the Harness Club requesting that the Shire investigate that site could be suitable for the Northern Harness Club to use in future. How much would that cost to the Shire to do that investigation, and is this something what we consider to do?
I believe that one can start.
Thank you.
Yeah, we did some preliminary investigations a number of years ago. Some of the recommendations for rehabilitation are not insignificant in terms of cost, in terms of replacing field, etc. So that is something we have to consider as part of future budgets. So, hence the reason that we've sort of excluded that area from the lease arrangement.
Thank you.
Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. President. So my understanding, not only are there harness racing at Harness Club, but there's also dogs. So is the dogs racing part of the harness racing organisation, or is that going to be a sub-lease or a separate lease, or do they have authorisation to sublet their overall lease to the dogs? Because the dogs also race there, so I was just wondering, that was my question, just in terms of the lease construction.
I'll take that question on notice.
Further questions, councillors? I did have one, it was just probably about the payment of the lease. What was the rent paid under the old lease? It was picking up, so what was it for? Take that notes if you need to. Thank you. Further questions on this item, councillors? Yeah, Councillor Bigland?
Has the Northern Shire been undertaking any maintenance, or are we responsible for any maintenance of the site over this period of time? Also, can we confirm that the Northern Race Club and Harness Race Club has got the appropriate insurances in place to cover the protection of the Shire? Thank you.
We'll take the first question on notice in terms of whether there has been any maintenance work carried out. If the lease is actually in holdover, it would have only been undertaken in accordance with the lease requirements. And in terms of public liability insurance, it's certainly a policy consideration. So under the council policy, the leasee has to provide their current public liability insurance. And we've most recently been actually following up with all of our lessees to make sure that we do have their public liability insurance on record.
Thank you.
Further questions, councillors? Yep, Councillor Atherton.
So at the end of the summary, it speaks about the fact that we don't currently have enough budget or resource allocations to put towards this problem. Is that something considered for the following year's budget?
I guess in terms of the leasing arrangement, we are looking at potentially a 5-year plus 5-year option. So it might be that it may not be next year or next financial year that we undertake the works, but certainly when we have more information about what we need to do, we'll be in a better position to determine when that budget needs to be considered.
Further questions, councillors? No? So we will go to page 262. So item 13.2, corporate services, 13.2.1, mid-year budget review. Gonna ask for questions, councillors. Councillor Williams?
Not a question, I'm just putting that on.
So Councillor Williams is putting in a declaration of impartiality. Thank you. Councillor Atherton is also putting in a declaration of impartiality. Members of the community group mentioned in the budget review are known to Councillor Atherton. So Councillor Manchelli is going to make the same declaration of impartiality. And members of, and Councillor Gierak is going to do the same. So it's all impartiality as members of community groups mentioned in the mid-year budget review are known to each of the councillors individually. Your choice of this. So it's impartial, so there's a limit, no, so. And we've got the decision making night next week, so if you do want to do it, you can by that point in time. But what I will do is I will ask for, Councillor Pollard's going to do the same. I will ask for any questions on this item. Colin has joined us at the table. Yes. Yeah, Councillor Ryan.
Sorry, just with regards to the 50,000 for the CCTV upgrades, what are we upgrading to? Are we going to be upgrading?
Regards to
We
strategy.
haven't done the workshop yet for policy in regards to CCTV and number plate recognition technologies?
We had a strategy done by CCD Alliance and we presented that to the safety committee. And that had a strategy, a three-stage plan. The stage one was to look at getting a mobile CCTV camera on a trailer that we could move around, and also to put seed money in place to try and attract grants for future works. It also looked at moving a lot of our current point-to-point systems and solar panels to either electricity and to direct fibre to try and improve their reliability. And the overall system at the moment is overloaded, so it's got real bad latency problems. So basically, come night time, once the infrared lights are on, if the police are moving around, there's like a really big lag, so it's very hard to use. Some of the cameras are the old analog cameras. They don't work sufficiently, especially at night when most of the crime's happening. So the 50,000 is really seed money. We're just going to start working through stage one of it and start getting some work on. But then there's also stage 2 and stage 3. So stage 2 will be look at all our existing cameras and the lighting where the cameras are and have them assessed at night and then start changing all the cameras to what we believe into cameras that are more fit for purpose for the current day and age. The system and the cameras are about, I believe the majority of them are 10 years old or older, and technology certainly improved the law basics there. But originally, latency, stage one, the major issue is latency.
That's right.
So in terms of the types of cameras that we would likely be ordering, when would that be occurring?
The replacement of the cameras we weren't going to start looking at until stage 2. Stage 1's mainly to deal with the latency and to look into getting some mobile cameras that can be moved around for events or private hotspots. We really need to fix the latency before we go any further. That is the number one priority, so we can make it a fit for purpose system, and the cameras would come in stage 2, which I think the Walpole, they in their wish list that they'd like a couple of vehicle and number plate recognition cameras put around town. The rest of them would just be the same cameras, either PTZ or fixed cameras, just adjusted and updated so they have a fair picture of what's going on. And most of our network doesn't pick up anything that could be used by the police at night. So they work okay during the day, but once we come to night, our network's pretty much lagging. And then the latency issue on top of that. And then stage 3, which will be a long way away, will definitely need grant funding, will be an expansion of the system. But we need to fix what we've got before we can move on any further than that.
Theo, you can add a bit more to that answer.
So with the mobile cameras on the trailers, they can have number plate or license plate recognition. So we'll ensure that the policy is considered by council before we look to implement that technology.
Councillor Gehrig?
Yeah, just in
Thank you.
in regards to the CCTV cameras again, there is $20,000 repair allocated for some damaged cameras. I'm just wondering, wouldn't that $20,000 be better used if those cameras are straight replaced instead of repaired?
The 20,000 is mainly for connectivity issues. They got during the last storms, lightning got the tower up on Mount Omni. We were ready to move to replacing that equipment, and so it was just 20,000 was mainly for the microwave links, which we had to fix straight away to get the cameras back up and running.
Okay, thank you. And one more question regarding the CCTVs. There was a mention of CCTV road safety trial, where we're gonna have apparently $87,000 reimbursed for some camera.
Yeah.
So is this part of the CCTV plan at some stage or?
No, that's completely different. That's run through, I'm not sure, I think Main Roads, and it's to do with Black Spot, and it's where they're starting to roll out cameras that pick up driver behaviour. So the camera they were talking about, it's a mobile camera, was going to go on the intersection of Fitzgerald, Gaydner and Newcastle, which is a bad accident corner for the Shire, and it's going to pick up driver behaviour, so they look at driver behaviour and try and work out the best methods to improve that intersection. I think that's probably pretty critical.
Yeah, it's a straight in, straight out funds transaction essentially. It's 100% funded by the Road Safety Commission, and we've been selected as the only rural shire to participate across the nation. So it's pretty good win for us. But yeah, look at a whole bunch of road geometry calculations and look at driver behaviour and help us design a better solution for that intersection, given all the constraints that are there.
Councillor Geary first.
Yeah, just back to that, like, are these cameras integrated and can be used for multiple purpose? Why do we need a camera just watching, driver behavior? Cannot that camera be used also to track, criminal activities or perhaps for other purpose?
But the intent for that particular camera is it's very specific. It's driver behaviour related. It's what it does is it de-identifies the information. So it will take your number plate information, your face recognition, similar to a Google car, and that's part of the selling point for that type of technology. It doesn't look at enforcement, so the whole branding behind it is non-enforcement camera technology, and because it's only a trial, it's not costing the Shire anything. We've essentially been selected. It was more so for accounting purposes that the Shire be the client, so we pay and then seek reimbursement that way. But it's a standalone camera that's not connected into any other CCT network.
And it's also not permanent either, so it's not going to be there forever.
3 months.
3 months.
Yeah, 3 months. Yeah. So Councillor Ryan.
So this particular camera, will that be our camera long term, or is it just online?
No. Yeah, so 3 months. They set it up on a mobile link, so it will sit on the corner of Gaydner and Fitzgerald and look back at Newcastle as well. So got quite a wide pan area, but yeah, very temporary. So it's there for 3 months.
Sorry, follow-up question.
Yeah.
Right. So the information and the data collected in regards to the camera, in regards to driver behaviour, who will be responsible for storing that information and then using the information? Who's the agencies that are going to be having access to that information, please?
Yeah, so Road Safety Commission are the primary user. We're the client, so what we will get is where an incident occurs, we'll get a 12-second snippet that's completely de-identified. We don't see anything. And the triggers for the footage that we receive, and which is cloud-based, so we're not actually storing it with platform. The information will just be triggered by algorithms that look at potential impacts, potential collisions between drivers, driver confusion, hesitation, so rapid stop and start motions as well. So all of that sort of stuff will trigger a 12-second clip that's stored in the cloud that I can then have access to through a portal.
Yep, Councillor Bigland.
2 questions. The first one is the 23 boxes of digitalisation. We've got an amount of $11,000. Do we consider that enough money to digitise the record? Because my experience is when you go to start digitalising them, it can be very expensive process. Part 2 of that is, are we just scanning them, or is there going to be catalogue? Is this going to help find these documents easily, or how are we going to manage once we've
We'll get it to you, Aidan.
Yes, thank you. We do know that's the cost because we actually got a quote from companies to provide that service, and they actually came out and looked at all of the records and understood, because some of the records are a little bit fragile, so they did understand what we were actually asking for them to do. And certainly the intention is to make it much easier. So the catalogue will actually be available online, so when we get a request from someone for their building plans, instead of at the moment, well, it used to be that a lot of them were kept down at the old depot, so that there was start time going to the old depot, bringing them back, and then having to take copies and all that sort of stuff. That will take away a lot of that requirement, and they'll be much easier to locate. They also won't disintegrate because they'll be in digital format as well.
A lot question, Councillor Legal? Or different question?
Thank you. I was just making sure that we did have enough money allocated for it, because I think it's an important process. My second one is the number 2. It is requested that an allocation of 6,000 be made to enter into contract with service provider for an after-hours call-out service. Estimated dividends of 12 to 15. Sorry, what is that for? What's the call-out service? Thank you.
The call-out service is for weekends and after hours, so it's going to cover anything to do with the Shire Rangers or anything for works and service emergency works, such as the ferry cross the road. The current situation is we have to have staff on call for them, which we're paying an on-call allowance, and it's not always as reliable as we believe it should be. So we believe that moving to this is really good value for money, and that it's going to get certainly a much better customer service experience. So the call centre, for example, will have a list, say, with the dog, who they contact. So if there's a dog at large, that might be no action required. If there's a dog that is in the middle of the road, might be contact the ranger, and if the ranger's not available, escalate it up to the senior ranger or the executive manager.
Go to Councillor Gearet first, and Councillor Polton, I think.
Yeah, just in regards to the records, this is more like from the point of interest. How far those records going back?
I do know that some of them are quite old and in quite delicate condition, so I don't know exactly, but they would be going back, I think, to the 60s and 70s.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. And my next question is in regards to the that's item 3, the development of grant applications or business cases, and also the social media and communication plan. I'm just wondering, isn't there like a communication and social media plan pro forma available what we could use through Algo or other, shires? Because would they be very different communication plans across shires?
So the intention would certainly be to do some work specifically, like we may be able to use a template, but it's also to get someone to provide us some advice too on how we're best placed to leverage our communications and our social media and that type of thing as well. So it's not just developing the plan, it's also giving us that expertise in terms of how we can better leverage our communication channels.
Thank you.
One more question.
Right up with the microphone. There is item 5, the available additional funding pool, Avon pool additional funding of 8,500. Is there a specific reason for that?
Yes, it's to do the investigation, develop a plan for the maintenance of the town pool, basically, and various maintenance and what's required for the future. We did have 16,000 in the budget, but current quote has come back. That's going to be like 24,500. But yeah, I'm not over the top of everything, but it is for the Avon Town pool and the river vegetation to have an assessment done and a plan on how to better maintain that in the future moving forward.
I better go to Councillor Polton first.
First of all, I recommend that we, in future, tackle one point at a time and go around and ask questions and move through that way. Jumping to number 2. So you're saying we need an additional $6,000, and the yearly operation costs is between 12 and 15. So the rest of the money is coming from how it's being managed.
No, this is the actual cost for the system. How it's being managed currently is by internal resources, and I'll calculate the actual cost of that. But it's mainly done by staff being on call and after hours and being called up. So there is no external cost at the moment. This will all be a new cost for the actual service. However, we will see what staff costs.
So the money that we're having to spend on staff costs after our services will be put towards this, or is that savings that will be calculated?
Well, that will be savings that will be calculated at a later date. It just won't, then staff members won't need to be on call for the servicing.
So yeah. So the assumption is that it would save money in the long term.
The assumption is that we would expect it will be cost neutral.
I'll go to Councillor Ryan first.
In regards to the allocation of 4,700, that's the fund. Point 11 is the allocation of 4,700 to enable Shire Ranger services to utilise NoiseNet, which is a noise monitor. Except that it would free up staff resources. Will that be our unit or is that on lease? And yeah, how's that going to be managed in terms of protecting the asset?
It's at the moment it's leased, so we've got it leased on a trial period. It comes in a little box and it's a secure box, and we attach it to a tree or something near the property. It doesn't have to be right near the property. And then we have software that we record that comes from that, and it gives us the noise levels that do it. But certainly at this point there's been no suggestion that we're going to purchase a self one. It's just this currently at the moment is for the trial period of the lease that we're adjusting the budget. What I can say is we've had dog complaints in one area that have been going on for 18 months, and the Rangers have put this in place and they've been able to close that. So they've been called out there numerous times, weekly, monthly, with resident complaining about another dog barking, and once they've put this in place within 2 months that complaint has been closed, because it shows that the dog isn't barking all the time and it's within acceptable limits.
Next question, councillors. Councillor Williams.
Yeah, 17, the downgrading in value of a vehicle due to the motor blowing up. The trade occurred. Is that, was there a reason the motor blew up, and is that something that can be looked into or be reimbursed? Who blew it up?
Is there a reason why it blew up? Well, that's probably $1 million question, but the vehicle in question was the CISM vehicle. It had an 18-month lead time, so we ordered it, and 18 months later we still haven't received the vehicle. And the vehicle blew up 2 weeks before the new vehicle came in. So is there an underlying reason for it? If we had traded it straight away when we wanted to, we wouldn't have an issue. We had lead time and it blew up. It was out of warranty, so there was no recall, so we can't get any reimbursement for it. It's not reimbursable for insurance as it was a mechanical fault, and we just had to wear it.
Another question, Councillor Williams? Looks like Councillor Mancelli's got one.
I have. The ute in question, or the vehicle in question, was it a Mazda at all?
No, it was a Ford Ranger, and apparently that model of them, from what we had from local mechanics when it is quite, that motor had problems. It's not the first one that's put up. I think it had a lot of Ks on it. It got up near the 200,000 kilometres, which usually we like to trade at 80,000.
So Councillor Gearat, then Councillor Bigland.
Thank you. Item 33, design of, for Gordon's and Wellington Street roundabout for $30,000. What is wrong with the roundabout? Is there any reason for that design to be carried out?
Yeah, so that's part of black spot funding. So that particular roundabout is, I think, notorious for confusion. The line marking there is probably not suitable for what its purpose is. It's got a lot of traffic coming down the hill at higher speeds. So there's some design constraints around it as well. So it's got part of the flow east track. It's also part of the freight network for Woolies that's in there. So the design will assist with pre-deflection and slowing traffic down into there. So you might notice that some of the pavement is failing there, and that's due to not having adequate pre-deflection in the design as well. So it's more a long-term solution to address safety and functionality of the roundabout.
Councillor Gearat, can I ask a question on that? So if it's black spot funding, does that mean it's 100% reimbursed at some stage?
It's only 100% funded if it's federal funded. My understanding of this, and it's an older grant, is that it's 50-50.
Sorry, Councillor, I'll go to Councillor Bigland.
Thank you. Number 12, the new contract for the cleaning, and I know it's coming at the ordinary council meeting. Is there a particular reason that you have decided to go out and for a new cleaner, and is it covering all of the area or just in all the building here?
The current tender was expiring, so we needed to go out for a new tender. It's for town site buildings, that one, and pollution facilities. So it doesn't extend. So there is a list in the actual item that's coming up a little bit later, which will show the facilities that are covered.
Which is, sorry, that's purely town centre, Northern Centric.
Northern Centric, yeah.
Covering numbers.
Yeah.
So do you currently have a different cleaner using cleaning the other?
Good question. Yes, so this is a separate tender for other. Councillor Ryan.
In regards to the grant, so that's item 25, the grant was sought from Wellbound to carry out a study of areas of environmental significance and retain the environmental consent of trees, valued at $18,910. Which sort of areas of trees are we looking at? Are we aware of that yet, or is it still council in place?
We're all looking to do. Oh no, we're going to check.
Yeah, that's part of the scoping document. They are looking at several areas, including around the rear of the RV park as well. So it's primarily around the river. But yeah, there's still scoping some of the other areas for that. Thank you.
Further questions, councillors? Yeah, Councillor Gearat.
In regards to the footpath program, just wondering why some of the items increased significantly, specifically the Smith Road and Bayon Road material charges.
I'll probably get into that one. Material charges were, look, I think that comes down to a scoping issue at the time. So material covered also the use of contractors. So we had additional support on that job, which was traffic management and water card. So that just added to the material costs. And I think it was a combination of possibly not scoping out how we were going to deliver the project. So the overall project cost relatively the same. It was just how we shifted the cost. So we had less staff hours and more material cost on that particular job, whereas future jobs will be more staff involvement, less material cost as an offset.
So the projects were more, or
Yes.
low?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Further questions, councillors? Okay, so I'll get councillor. No. So I'm just going to go page 271. At the bottom of that page, probably Colin, I'll go to you. It's got a budget impact of $2.8 million. Just want to clarify that or tease that out. What does that mean? So it says budget impact, so what does it actually mean?
The budget impact is exactly the same as it was before this amendment. So the total cost to council was 2.836 mil. We've moved around the budget to bring it back to 2.836 mil. So there's in reality, the impact to the budget is nil. And we've just moved everything and offset between the roads program to ensure that we do have the budget and we didn't have to increase it anymore. And as part of that, we've looked at the efficiencies of where we've got internal resources going. So we've moved around some of our internal resources to additional areas where it's been more cost effective, so the overall program can stay within budget, because we still have been having contractor issues where our budgets haven't been enough, so we've had to reduce materials in some budgets and increase other budgets with materials to ensure that the actual roads program can be carried out.
Thank you. And then on page 279, on the right-hand column down the bottom, it's got total comprehensive income on the revised budget is down by 91,000. I just wanted to see if that was a deficit, so what does that exactly mean?
What that means is that it's reduced the budget overall by 91,000, the operating budget.
So we're worse off in the operational budget?
Only in the operating budget. Yeah.
But as you said in the previous...
Sorry, you took it. No, we're better off. We've reduced the amendments have improved our position by 627,000.
Yeah.
And so that means the deficit's down to 91,000 from 718,000. Sorry, I misunderstood you. Yes.
So I probably didn't ask it the right way. So, Councillor Mancelli.
Yes, just doubling back to page 271, there's a figure in there for $70,000 flood damage revenue. Is that the sum total that the council's recouped from Wanderer?
That's correct. It was from the emergency works from Wanderer, so it's finally come through. We had recouped some going back 18 months ago, and maybe 9 months ago, and they had disputed the rest of the funding. They've finally reviewed that and now they've given us the okay to invoice, and we'll receive that funding.
Yeah, you got a bit more of an answer?
Yeah, just further to that as well, that's only the emergency response stuff. So we do have a large works package that will likely get funding. That's in its final application stages now. So we submitted our application 2 weeks ago with a whole scope of works, 351 lines of work. And then what we'll do is we'll nut that out with the funding body and consultants, make sure that our scope is accurate, true and correct, and then that'll give us a total end figure. So there will be a much larger contribution.
All right, question, Councillor Mancelli?
Supplementary question. What is the likely quantum?
Are you going to hold me to it?
No.
Everyone saw that. It's no.
The scope that I've put forward with the consultant, that's around 700,000.
Further questions on this item? Thanks for the answers. So any other questions on this item, the mid-year budget review? So just a reminder, we will start next week, so all of the councillors did plan partiality. So that was Councillor Appleton, Councillor Williams, Councillor Bolton, Councillor Antonio, Councillor Minicelli, and Councillor Gierak. But that'll be detailed for next week's ordinary council meeting. So we've done that. We now go to page 283. So 13.2.2, monthly financial report for the period ending 29th of February 2024. Is there anything in here that's urgent? The one question I had on this, I sort of flagged this before, these two reports have come in different order to normal. Is that right? Normally this is the second report and the accounts and statements is the first report. Is there any? No?
Yeah, there's no reason for it. I'm not sure why.
Yeah. I did have one question, my perennial question on, I can answer it, do it by email, but just wanted to flag it to page 296. We've got the rates report. Thanks for continuing to provide that. Just the percentage of year-to-date rates outstanding appears to be creeping up. Just wanted to confirm if that was the case.
We have just put out our final instalment for the year. So once that's paid, I'll probably be able to give a better indication on exactly where we are. But we've got an additional 100 payment arrangements in place this year to date so far. So I would expect that our finishing position for the year is going to be greater than what it was last financial year. The last couple of financial years, we've been able to have a slight reduction and we've held it pretty well, but this financial year, it's not current economic, it's tough times for people. And so I would expect that it's going to end the year higher. At this point in time, it's difficult to just say how much higher, but I would suspect that it's definitely going to end up higher.
I think Councillor Pollock got a question is. So that we can ask that after the meeting. Any further questions on this item, councillors? Then we've got page 299. So 13.2.3, accounts and statements of accounts, February 2024. I haven't seen any questions emailed in or answers provided, but councillors are still able to do that throughout the week anyway. If there's nothing urgent on that one? No, it doesn't appear to be. So we now go to page 372, engineering services. So do we swap execs? You can still swap execs, isn't it? So we're on page 372, 13.3 engineering services, 13.3.1 RST 08 2023, cleaning of Northern Townside public buildings. Questions, councillors? So we did have one indirectly asked in the budget review. Oh, sorry, Councillor Anderson.
On the report, which is attached, there's a little bit in the comments to the full report on the procurement process and outcomes have been provided as a separate confidential attachment. I don't that. That's not there.
It is inconvenient. That component of the recommendation will be taken out. Information is available if wanted, but it's not going to form part of the submission for next week. We'll have that recommendation amended.
So that tender docs, is that the tender documents?
Yeah, and the
evaluation.
The evaluation.
So we get all that.
We have a request on request.
You can have it on request, yeah, absolutely.
Ordinarily, we get it as a confidential item.
Yeah.
You can have it as a confidential item, yeah.
Please,
yeah.
I'd love to see it.
Yes, I think we all,
But
I think we all.
I think that's all the questions you're saying already. Sorry. Further questions on this item, councillors? I think, yeah, 4 councillors had exactly the same question. So, if that's it, so we've now got development services. That was at least got to answer something. So we're now going to page 376. So 13.4 is development services, 13.4.1 is proposed partial road closure, Blackline 2J Road, Blackline. Any questions on this one? Councillors?
Yeah. No, if I may.
Oh, Councillor Mancelli?
Have we left sufficient width the road to 2J in light of the fact that the Eastlink highway will ultimately intersect that area? I believe Eastlink will connect to 2J Road in a different location. Is that true? Sorry, Chris. Yeah.
In terms of the Eastlink affecting this road closure, we wouldn't. Eastlink is further down 2J Road, further towards Gidgee. Yeah, there is sufficient existing road reserve for the current carriageway, etc. So this is just the old railway one, about 30 years ago, obviously.
So further questions on this item, councillors? No? Then we go to page 381. So 13.4.2, review of local planning strategy. So questions, councillors? Oh, that's fine then. So it's just, if we go through the steps, does this become our scheme number 7? Is that what it is, or am I on the wrong track there?
Well, this is the strategy. Then, as part of the process, once the strategy is adopted, we'll then take make a number of amendments to the existing town planning scheme. So we're not developing a new town planning scheme, we're just amending what we've currently got. So yeah, it's not going through a completely new town planning scheme.
Yeah, thank you. And page 387 and onwards, that's all. I think that's the good look at that. Just make sure I've got the right question. Yeah. So the draft amended local planning strategy, that's the one we've done a workshop on, we've gone through it, just attached here as part of the report.
That's correct. That's the one that we submitted to the DPLH, Department of Planning, Lands and Heritage, and the Australian Planning Commission.
Thank you. I just wanted to doubly confirm that. I thought it was. And then page 516 with the simplified preparation and adoption of a new local planning scheme flow chart. So I just want to sort of confirm what the time frame is from now. Now we're at this stage, what's the likely time frame from now?
So likely time frame from now, if council endorses the recommendation next week, obviously we'll forward that off to the Department of Planning and the WAPC in the week after that. Then it goes through their process of endorsing it. So that could be, I think you mentioned that the strategic meeting could be between 4 to 6 to 8 weeks. And once that's then adopted by the WAPC, and then we can start to look at, as mentioned, reports on some amendments to our town planning scheme to reflect the changes. We recommend all changes that have been endorsed as part of the strategy. So, yeah, it'll be an ongoing process. There's certainly some, as mentioned in the report, there's some tidy up that's required that we could pretty much do straight away once as soon as it gets an indication from the WAPC it's been endorsed. And then there can be a series of other amendments as we progress through. So yeah, it'll be an ongoing process for another 12 to 18 months at least.
Thank you. Just want to check there's no further questions on this item, councillors. Yep, Councillor Gurek.
Yeah, just a question in regards to the regional centre with the R80 coding. Would that allow in the town centre to the businesses on the main street to actually be converted for accommodation purposes?
Yeah, potentially, that's certainly mixed use development, something that's encouraging and getting people living in the town centre zone is one of the objectives, so yeah, that would be an option that landowners could pursue.
And that regional town centre zoning, that's, as it indicated on the map, it would be only that pink shaded area, excluding the other like lighter pink colour, which is residential, I assume, is that correct?
That's correct, and that is one of the rezoning processes that we have to go through to rezone those areas to regional town centre, so there's another process to go through with that, so this is just giving us the strategic direction of which way council and the community want to head in terms of the local planning scheme, and then there's a series of amendments and further consultation that we have to go through when we amend our town planning scheme.
Thank you. So no further questions, Councillor. Councillor Angelic?
Yeah, the R80 zoning, that'll allow multi-storey development, won't it?
Potentially, yeah, correct. Yeah, multiple buildings.
Given that we're in a seismic area, is that fraught with danger?
I'm not sure how to answer that question. Certainly, in terms of any development, building to comply with the relevant codes, and that is part of the earthquake zoning, and yeah, it's looked at as part of that.
Councillor Guerra?
Just a follow-up question on that. Like the Northern Town Centre was kind of classified as a historical kind of precinct or heritage precinct. We could not install light signs in the past, so how would that fit with the future direction with the, the Shire to allow high-rise buildings or higher modern buildings to build in the buildings down?
Yeah, we certainly have an overarching local heritage policy for parts of Fitzgerald Street, parts of the CBD. So any new development or any demolition has to comply or has to be assessed under those heritage guidelines. So yeah, it might be a high-rise development from one end of Fitzgerald to the other. It's about providing that flexibility, particularly around some of the outlying areas as well. So yeah, they still have to comply with heritage requirements and heritage guidelines within that precinct.
Yeah, no further questions, councillors? So we go to page 520, item 13.4.3. I'll just remind you, I neglected to mention item 13.4.2. Councillor Pop declared impartiality in this item. That'll be documented properly next week. So we're on page 520. So 13.4.3, alterations to existing Tesla heating station.
Yeah, I've got some questions.
Question, Councillor Angelic?
Yeah, look, it's a significant development, $9 million, I believe. Getting rid of the diesel generators is probably a good move, but clearly the BESS system they're putting in will be less noisy. Is that a possibility, or?
I would assume that going from diesel to battery would be less noise. There's been an acoustic assessment.
Yes.
That's been attached. We haven't had any issues with any sort of complaints of the current system out there, so just we assume it would be less of an impact to the surrounding businesses than the existing one. And it's only a peaking plant, so it's not operating 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's only when it's required. So obviously they've done an initial assessment, and then we've said if there's an issue, then we'd require further information. They can undertake any sort of mitigation works if the noise does become an issue.
Further question, Councillor Angelic?
Under the Noise Abatement Act, they're not supposed to generate above 80 decibels, is that right?
It does depend. It depends, there is different factors in terms of what zone you're in and how close you are to a receptor, etc. So, I'm not exactly sure what the exact details are, but that was part of the assessment that's been attached.
Councillor Guirec?
Yes, it says that the development have to slightly encroach, into the 20-meter, road setback. That's on the major concern, I assume?
Sorry, the
On page 537, so it says that the development will have minor encroachment into the 20-meter road setback requirements.
oh, the setback requirement? No, that's not an issue.
I couldn't really see how far that minor was into.
Yeah, I'm thinking it might be included on page 531. Bring that up. That's really not really on that.
No,
Really not on screen,
that's
so,
very
I'll confirm with what the exact setback is for the meeting next week, but obviously the existing plans there, it's just a minor modification in the front setback area, which I have no issue with.
Councillor Geary.
The other question while we're on that plan, do I read it well that the entrance to the site will also be modified? Compared to the plan, gosh, I don't know, I think on one of the last pages, there is an old plan. And it looks like that the entrance site layout is different.
No, I don't believe they changed the entrance, but I'll confirm that for the meeting next week.
I can find that.
I'll go to Councillor Mincelli's question, then I'll go back to you, Councillor
Yeah, no,
Geary, while you find that.
Yeah, given the value of the development, what sort of income or revenue does that generate for the council?
I have to, it's exec manager corporate, but there is a fee, sliding scale, so again, it's not included, I can follow that for the meeting next week.
Yeah, just curious, that's all.
Councillor Geary, did you find that?
Yeah, I find a page 580. I think,
So 581?
yeah, page 581.
581.
Page 5, sorry, just bring it up.
As well. You said that.
That's the existing approved development back from 2011, so, yeah, we could confirm maybe an overall layout in terms of what they're proposing in terms of what's existing at the moment, might make it clear for next week.
Councillor Appleton.
Considering these plans are still marked as confidential, should we be going through this without behind closed doors?
That last bit change with the name.
Because of there's contact information there, so we'll redact that part of it, so, yeah, it's not confidential, just the confidentiality.
Question, Councillor Appleton. Further questions on this? So, if the batteries assume they're lithium without reading the report, is there any chance of explosions or any risk like that? So, I know diesel is still a volatile liquid, but is there any, regardless of what material it is there any higher risk or different risk?
I'll take that question on notice in terms of whether it's required to be licensed through DEMERS or Department of Minerals and Energy. Yeah, I'll take that one on notice and provide a response for next week.
And sort of following on from Councillor Geary, is this your Bushman tank site? Did I read that right on the overall map?
No, it's a couple of blocks on from Bushman Tank, so there is an existing power station there.
So it's further west than Western
Correct, yeah.
Yep, so further questions, councillors? Yeah, councillor Guerra?
Yes, so, if these batteries are prone to explosion, that it was fire, then that statement of bushfire, it's not a bushfire hazard area, that might not be accurate either in the document. On page 538, it refers to fire management plan. It's not applicable. It's not a bushfire prone area, but if there's a major explosion, that could expose.
Yeah, correct, it's not even a bushfire prone area, so it doesn't meet the mandatory requirement for a bushfire management plan. But yeah, it would have been on the potential fire impact of having batteries, but as I say, we'll provide that information for next week.
Thank you. Councillor Guerra, okay. Councillor Michele?
From my reading of the plan and the associated information, the batteries are going to be located within shipping containers, is that right? 6 metres long, 2.4 wide, 2.9 high. So if there is an explosion, mightn't be all that bad, really.
We'll pay that part of the notice next week. Yeah, it could be part of the notice.
Yeah. Clarify that.
Further questions, councillors? No. And we've got one more for Chad, so page 583. So 13.4.4, Southwest Native Title Settlement Plan, List 1469. Councillor Ryan has the first question.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I'm just referred to attachment 13.4.2 on page 591. Assuming, reading the item that the red triangle square is the parcel plan that we're referring to. Below that map, I don't know the map up for one, but there's a yellow boundary. Assume that's private land.
You're referring to sort of the long, skinny yellow boundary.
Yeah.
That's the road.
Below from.
Yeah.
And so that's it. So it looks like there's a road. I was just wondering, is that an easement or is that a road?
It's actually a road reserve.
So
It's a road reserve, but it's not constructed. It's
so if Belladon people or members of the Land and Sea Council that this land is going to be allocated to, they'll be able to access that parcel of land through that road reserve there.
They would, obviously, they were going to develop, they would have to come for they still have to apply our town planning scheme, and if they were to develop by development approval, then that's one of the conditions we can impose, that they have to upgrade that road or have an alternative access. So I'm not sure that I don't believe there's any easement to that land at the moment, but that's another option they've got. They can negotiate with the adjoining landowner to have an easement over their land to get to access to their property. But yeah, it's a very, this one's another strange one. It's just a piece of land that you wouldn't know was there. It looks like it's just been part of the adjoining farm for a number of years. Just hasn't been fenced. So yeah, I'm not even sure how it was created or why, but obviously they've gone through, picked up any of the unmanaged or unallocated Crown land. So this is one that fits into that boat as well.
I'm going to Councillor Bickman first, and then Councillor Guerra.
Is there any methodology behind the Selwyn Land Council in their choosing of these blocks of land or that maybe actually just potentially choosing them?
We're not aware of the methodology other than what's being provided and what we've included in the agenda, but as I say, I believe I've just gone through and looked at any unallocated or unmanaged reserves or Crown land throughout the whole settlement area, and then obviously make any determination whether they believe it's something that they're interested in or would have a purpose for. So, but in terms of how or why they select certain parcels, we're not privy to that information, unfortunately.
Councillor Bigelow?
Do we know how close they are to their 320,000 square metres that they're in for?
Short answer, no, I'm not sure where their entire process. Obviously, we've had a few land parcels come through over a number of years now. I think it's famous, but certainly not the large. Only one large parcel that all been sort of relatively minor in nature in terms of the child building. Whether that's different, it might be a different experience for other local governments, I think. But certainly from our perspective, it's been sort of bits and pieces that aren't significant apart from maybe around Wandowee.
Councillor Gear first.
On page 86, there is a reference to the lot 306, which has a church currently on that land. Is that church a functioning church? Is it a historical building? Is it used by anybody? Or?
Just to clarify, the property is vacant. It's the top corner of it is zoned for church. I assume there must have been an old historic church 10 years ago, but there's no building staying designated.
Sorry, Councillor Gear, was that in reference to the first one or the second one?
The second, that's the.
It's a church down the road, but not there.
No, that's what I was saying, that's that block.
Yeah.
Because I think there was a reference that the church is not visible on the map. I think that was a comment earlier on in the document, and that's what you get on the question.
Councillor Mencheli.
Yeah, my question is there any requirement to notify adjoining property owners? Yeah, given that the parcels of land are 10.5 and 4.14 or whatever, they're relatively small, but you know, it could be problematic for the adjoining owners.
Certainly, we would advise the adjoining owner of the land does get transferred. So if the level notification comes, that requires notification. I think in the past we have requested the DPLH to undertake that consultation, but they haven't. There's no requirement on us. Until if we receive a development application that requires it.
Yeah, right.
Councillor Williams.
We have put our objections in previously to some of the properties. I was wondering, has there been any sort of feedback to date as to whether anything's going ahead with the properties that we have already said yes or no to?
I'm not sure, but I can take that one note as well. I don't think I've seen too many that have actually been transferred, but I'll double check what some of the more recent ones that we objected to.
Councillor Williams.
Direct Indian have rejected one of these across their claim and will continue to do so. You know, if there's many local governments that are doing that, and if there's any sort of pushback that they're receiving for doing that.
I'm not aware of any, can't answer that question in terms of is there any other local governments and any feedback, pushback, but that would be a decision of council. That the position they want to adopt, but say in the past, if there has been genuine issues or concerns with transferring land, council has objected to it, and if there hasn't been, then we have generally supported in the past.
There's my question. Further questions, councillors? No? Thanks, Chad. So we're going to page 593. So 13.5 is community services. That is new. Dan gets out of that easily. Item number 14 is matters behind closed doors, that is nil. Item 15, motion to which previous notice has been given, is nil. Items. Sorry?
No, I just think it was there. Okay. It was just for advice, really.
Oh, just for advice.
It will be considered at next week's ordinary council meeting.
Questions anyway? Yeah. That's all right. So, okay, item number 16 is urgent business approved by the city, that's nil. Item number 17, declaration of closure is made at 6:55 p.m. Thank you, councillors, great questions tonight. Thank you all the staff for challenging questions and thought you answered them all superbly. Thank you all very much. And for no members of the public, you're quite welcome to stay and join us for tea and refreshments.
That's